So when we walked into the Corner Chateau, I immediately thought that it was true. Drew Scott, the charming co-host of the popular show Property Brothers, has been one of viewers' favorites for years, but behind the scenes, Scott's life has not been smooth. From health struggles and controversies to professional struggles, join us as we unveil the details of what happened to Drew Scott. Drew Scott and the Property Brothers. Over the years, home improvement shows have always been popular because people love watching beautiful transformations that inspire their dreams. HGTV's show titled Property Brothers is not an exception. It ranks as one of the channel's most beloved and top-rated shows. Property Brothers features twin brothers Drew and Jonathan Scott, who bring homes back to life with their skills and funny jokes. However, along the way, something unexpected happened to Drew Scott, which raised questions especially among the fans who have grown familiar with the brothers, their playful jokes, and their hard work on screen. Unfortunately, during the 7th season of the show, which premiered in September of 2019, many fans noticed that Drew was a bit scarce on the show, which led to so many rumors and speculations from fans, the media, and viewers that the brothers had some internal conflicts going on, and as such it must have been the reason why Drew had to leave the show, and no one knew the complete detail of what the issue was. It wasn't long before these rumors started circulating on social media, and it was believed that Drew was leaving Property Brothers because he wanted to build a cosmetics line with his wife, Linda Fan. Following the period this news went wild, the brothers had to dismiss all of those claims, further mentioning that somebody out there is just trying to create gossip from what is not gossip. There's no doubt that the Scott brothers have made an amazing impact in the industry with the combination of their creative talents and TV presence, but still within those same periods when Drew was not frequent on the show, something more tragic was going on behind the scenes. The Property Brothers and the entire family were facing a trying moment when their elder brother James Daniel was struck with a health challenge. Most fans of the show Property Brothers know that just the same way that they're close as twins, they're just as close with their older brother J.D. Scott. He talks about his elder brother J.D. This time he was battling for his life. For more than a year, they must have felt powerless watching J.D. try to get of a mysterious health condition with strange symptoms that included his temperature rising above 70 degrees. Most times he would suddenly feel like his skin was on fire, then all of a sudden he would start passing out, just like that. What had started as a dream come true for the brothers started looking like it was all about to collapse. This entire period was a difficult time for the family, as Drew was affected greatly and wasn't sure if the illness was going to take his brother's life or not. All they could do at that point was to wait for further confirmation from the doctors, while the fans, on the other hand, hoped that he would get better. JD described having flu-like symptoms and gastrointestinal issues alongside the extreme sensitivity to heat. It was said that he was unable to engage in any physically demanding activity and had to be on medications daily. By the time Drew decided to withdraw and support his brother JD, emotionally, Jonathan, on the other hand, could carry on with the demands of the show. Somehow things didn't feel the same way again, as it was never going to be as interesting as having the two around on the show, considering how many of their fans started seeing the end of what had been an amazing journey with the Property Brothers. The craziest part about the whole situation was that everyone wasn't sure of what was happening, as it took a long time for JD to get a proper diagnosis, as the doctors initially struggled to identify the exact cause of his illness. Later on, it was discovered that he was suffering from mercury poisoning and chronic fatigue syndrome. In fact, at one point, a doctor suggested it could be more than one ailment, suggesting that maybe too many things came together to form those symptoms. Fortunately, he was able to eventually get back on his feet, but the entire experience left a lasting impact on the family, and Drew Scott especially. Following the tragic incident, Drew was able to come back fully on the show, bringing back that charm and funny jokes viewers enjoyed from him and his brother. However, during this same period, Drew Scott was not always present on the show. He and his wife, Linda Fan, are known for keeping their family life private. At some point became open about their struggles to become parents, sharing that Linda had a thyroid condition called Graves' disease, which made it difficult for her to conceive. It was a challenging period for the couple. Even before Drew Scott and Linda Fan married in 2018, they knew they wanted to have a family. When they moved to Los Angeles the previous year and set out to design their new home, the couple already imagined little ones running around. It was revealed that during that period, Drew was even ready to make personal sacrifices to make their dreams of becoming parents come to reality, to the point where he was willing to give up his craft room as a nursery. But the journey proved harder than they had imagined. After several attempts at trying to conceive, everything failed. At this point, Scott and Fan had to seek the expertise of a fertility endocrinologist who helped them through Fan's health struggles, Graves' disease. This disease is more like an autoimmune condition that affects the thyroid gland, and somehow it was a related link to why it was difficult for them to make babies. We did IVF for Parker, and we were told we wouldn't be able to have kids on our own. And then, Linda was just talking, we want to go through the whole process again. IVF is really hard on the mom. He talks about them doing IVF together. They decided to try IUI and IVF. And just after 2 years of treatment, the couple shared with their fans and viewers that they were expecting a baby in December 2021. By May of the following year, 2022, their son, Parker James, was born. Fortunately, by May 2024, they had another child, Piper Ray, and were able to successfully resolve their fertility issues. Not long ago, also, there was a mistaken report of Drew's passing all over the media space, but it's been verified to be completely false, as Drew is still fully alive alongside his family members. While his elder brother JD had all of those health challenges back then, he's well and still active in his work. With all of the successes recorded by the Property Brothers and their growth in the industry, one time, a Las Vegas couple sued the company behind HGTV's Property Brothers after a renovation that was filmed and aired allegedly left their home full of serious faults and health hazards. The couple Mindy and Paul King, after getting married in 2018, were ready to start the next chapter in their lives. As such, they paid Property Brothers nearly $200,000 that year, all in the hopes that they would get to live in their dream home just after the Property Brothers were done remodeling their dream home. However, the couple complained that the renovation resulted in a moldy dishwasher alongside sewage leaking into their cupboards and a collapsed sink. They further explained that despite the beautiful appearance of the home at first glance, it's filled with serious issues because they made it look good for TV. Aside from that, they further mentioned that they used to have a sink in their kitchen, but somehow it collapsed because the contractors installed the wrong-sized pipe and gas line. Aside from that, it will be impossible for them to even sell a house like that with all these problems. Feeling frustrated about how they had to fund the renovation from their savings, according to the couple, they claimed the Property Brothers ignored their pleas for help, leading them to engage in a legal battle against their production company. According to the lawsuit filed, the couple accused Cineflix, the production company the Scotts were working for at the time, and several contractors and subcontractors that the company hired of doing a bad job. The lawsuit filed in January 2001 claimed that Cineflix was not licensed in Nevada to do the renovations, and that they hired inexperienced contractors, although it did not name the Property Brothers as defendants. The Property Brothers, Jonathan and Drew Scott, are no longer with Cineflix as they have since started their own production company. Drew and his brother were able to fully expand their intellectual property at HGTV, and as such, went ahead to launch 2 new series with their longtime Warner Brothers Discovery-owned cable home, backed by The Bros and Don't Hate Your House, with the Property Brothers both working titles. Additionally, HGTV also renewed the brothers' popular celebrity IOU for a 4th season. Jonathan and Drew Scott, who are now worth over $100 million each, didn't always have the financial success they enjoy today. Before their rise to fame on HGTV, they faced significant struggles. Jonathan, inspired by a dream to become the next David Copperfield, invested all his resources into a magic career. He built props, had a custom trailer made, and leased a truck in hopes of making it big. But his dreams took a hit when he trusted the wrong person who ended up stealing all his expensive equipment. As a result, Jonathan filed for bankruptcy, which led him into a period of depression. Meanwhile, Drew's financial troubles came from his pursuit of acting. He moved to Vancouver taking acting courses and networking, but he ended up in debt. Despite these setbacks, both brothers shifted their focus to real estate, where they found success. Now they've put due diligence in and strengthened their financial situation. Their experiences taught them valuable lessons, and they are now financially secure with their real estate empire and other ventures. Let's get into the details of how they got to this point in their career. The Scott brothers. The Scott brothers are famous for their playful and silly sense of humor, often teasing each other, especially in public. Jonathan, on the other hand, usually dresses casually for his job as a contractor, while Drew, the real estate agent, is known for always wearing suits somehow. This difference in their personalities has fully complemented each other in the best way possible. He and his twin brother, Jonathan, have an older brother, James Daniel, who is older by 2 years, while his identical twin brother, Jonathan, is older by 4 minutes. He talks about how the family worked and how their parents met. Their parents are Jim and Joanne Scott, with their father coming from Scotland as a teenager with dreams of being the kind of cowboy he had seen on television. Before having them, he worked in the film industry as an actor, stuntman, and assistant director until the late 1970s. It was around that time when he decided to focus on raising his family, after which they moved to a horse farm in the nearby town of Maple Ridge. He talks about how they started selling in bulk. He worked as a youth counselor, while Joanne, their mother, continued her career as a paralegal in downtown Vancouver. On the twins' 7th birthday, their father encouraged them to get jobs, so they started their first business, which they named JAM, by making nylon-covered hangers. As young boys, they sold these items from door to door until a certain woman ordered thousands, and they were able to make lots of money. At that time, James would commonly renovate their properties and would pay the boys from as young as 8 years old to build and repair fences, decks, and barns. Aside from that, they would most times rearrange the furniture in their family home. There was where all of these talents in design, real estate, and construction was birthed from. As a teenager, Drew attended Thomas Haney Secondary School and excelled in sports, both coaching and playing on the basketball and volleyball teams. After graduation, the family moved into their new home in Alberta. At this age, entertainment was always in the picture because their father worked as both an actor and stuntman in the movie industry till he retired to focus on other things, so somehow this created enough room for Drew, since it never appeared as if he was going to start anything in real estate. It wasn't long before he started acting in theater and sketch comedy. At some point, he began to focus more on playing basketball. As time went on, he also pursued acting, which included roles in movies like Smallville, Breaker High, and Madison. Soon, he and his brother got enrolled in the University of Calgary. Despite their plans to become entertainers, the twins didn't want to be hungry, even while pursuing entertainment. It was revealed that one time after watching a piece by Carlton Sheets, both Drew and his brother felt real estate investment would ease the financial issues that may arise when they are probably out of work as actors. After his first semester in college, Drew and his brother were able to lease a 7-bedroom rental property across the street from their university, which they cleaned and repaired, then sublet the remaining 5 rooms, clearing a profit of $800 a month. This went on and on for a while, and they were able to land other jobs in real estate. One time, by taking advantage of a vendor take-back mortgage, They assumed the mortgage of the home with a $250 down payment, made a few renovations using the rental money, and sold the house a year later with a $50,000 profit. Talks about licensing in real estate. It then turned almost like a full-time job, as they continued to purchase and flip homes at wide profit margins for some years. At that time, his brother Jonathan went to school for construction and design, and eventually became licensed as a contractor. By the break of 2002, the twins, along with their older brother, co-founded Davidian Production Group, an independent film production company, while Drew continued acting, directing, and producing on the side. With things falling in place for him, Drew had long abandoned his aspirations to play professional basketball after he tragically sustained a series of injuries. Well, by the break of 2003, he got recruited by a college in Alberta. At this time, he was already 25 years old, however, feeling like he was moving backward. He left after a few weeks and rejoined Jonathan in the real estate business fully. Considering some of the struggles he faced initially as a realtor, Drew decided to enroll in a real estate program and got his license in 2004. That same year, the twins founded Scott Real Estate, Incorporated, a real estate company that was designed to provide clients with services ranging from buying, selling, and renovating of properties, as well as design consulting, among many other services. During all of this period, the brothers recorded so much success, but despite the success he was having as a realtor, Drew became increasingly uncomfortable. He felt more like he was focusing more on real estate, and it was overtaking his true passion, which is acting. So by the break of January 2006, he headed to Vancouver. Scott moved in with his best friend Pedro and set a goal to focus on his dream for 1 year. Meanwhile, Jonathan, his brother, was already based in Calgary to manage the business. In Vancouver, Scott started taking acting and voice classes connected with important people in the industry and worked his way up on movie production crews. While all of these were going on, he used a spreadsheet to help keep him on track and organized. As the year drew to a close, however, he discovered that he was in lots of debt, going over $100,000, and somehow this was very far from what he had hoped for. After listening to a particular song, he immediately sent Jonathan an email asking for Scott Real Estate's marketing template. Soon, he got a realtor's license in Vancouver and opened a Scott Real Estate branch there. With offices in Vancouver, Calgary, and Las Vegas, Scott Real Estate grew to have dozens of employees. Drew began securing lots of shows with real estate themes, but was mostly being offered hosting gigs, often with Jonathan. Eventually, the big break came for the brothers when Cineflix offered him a hosting job for a show called Realtor Idol, based on the American Idol format. The show never happened, but the company's producers wanted Scott for a whole different show this time, called My Dream Home, with plans to find a female co-host who would assist him. When they learned he had a brother who was also in real estate, they developed a show around the two of them, and that company later filmed the iconic show Property Brothers. Eventually, the show was picked up by HGTV. By the break of 2010, Scott joined his brothers in Las Vegas, where they bought a joint home in 2011. Its renovation became the subject of the twins' fourth TV series, which was titled Property Brothers at Home, which aired on HGTV in the United States and on the W Network in Canada. It became the highest-rated HGTV series premiere since 2009. Following the success of Property Brothers at Home, Scott Brothers Entertainment went on to create another spin-off series called Property Brothers at Home on the Ranch, where the brothers went back to their old childhood background of Alberta, Canada, to accomplish a 10-week renovation for a family friend's estate. Talks about his legacy, achievements, and legacy. As part of the show, Drew, alongside his brother, went ahead to write and record 2 country singles that premiered during the 3rd and 4th episodes of the series. A 3rd song was released titled My House, featuring Eric Pasley on the 12th of January 2017. By the break of 2010, they created Scott Brothers Entertainment an independent production company, only for them to shift the focus of the company from film to creating original content for television and digital platforms in 2013. As part of their achievements, their web series Toddler vs. Toddler was produced in 2013 and aired. Scott Brothers Entertainment also produced seasons 3 and 4 of Brother vs. Brother, as well as Property Brothers at Home. Drew has written a series based on current social topics that he is passionate about, including solar power. With all of the successes Drew has been able to record for himself, his personal life has also recorded its sweetness. Drew met his wife, Linda Fan, at a Toronto Fashion Week event in 2010. Beginning in 2014, Drew and Linda Fan lived together in a Las Vegas home that Drew still shares with his twin. They spent only about 2 days a year there, as Fan travels with Scott as the creative director of Scott Brothers Entertainment, overseeing digital content product lines and marketing. By the break of December 13, 2016, they got engaged and married in a destination ceremony in Italy on May 12, 2018. Their wedding was a feel of both their Scottish and Vietnamese heritages, and was featured as Drew and Linda Say I Do. Aside from that, Drew also co-wrote and performed a song for Linda titled You Chose Me, which premiered on YouTube. The couple, who had expressed a desire to have children, moved to Los Angeles in October 2017 with plans to raise their future family there. One time, Drew and his fiancée, Linda Fan, filmed a 5-episode series about the 12-week renovation of their Los Angeles home called Property Brothers at Home, Drew's honeymoon house. His brothers Jonathan and JD also joined in on the project. The show premiered on the 22nd of November 2017 on HGTV and on November 27th on HGTV Canada. Alongside the series, the couple created a web show called Wedding Crafts with Linda, where they shared DIY wedding craft ideas. The 11-part series started on November 15, 2017. Drew and Linda also appeared on the cover of People magazine the same week the show aired, marking what HGTV called Drew's best week ever. Although Drew might not have been an American citizen, he tends to have democratic views, and one time he even endorsed Hillary Clinton on his Twitter account in September 2016. One of his early influences and personal heroes is life coach Tony Robbins, who is admitted to using Robbins' idea of incantations to reach his goals. As a basketball enthusiast, he played in both high school and college and made his college basketball team, but got injured before the first season and never played in a game. Although he has played in various celebrity sport charity games and has twice played in the NBA All-Star Celebrity Game. By the break of 2012, he took home a trophy for the Shooting Stars Celebrity Challenge. As a person, Drew values a healthy lifestyle, monitoring his diet and regularly exercising. He has a black belt in karate and has declared himself as a fan of the show, a popular horror movie. And by the break of 2016, he was invited as a recurring commentator on the after show to give his insights on the show and zombie property values. Adding to how much Drew has been able to accomplish, the brothers have enjoyed a largely female fan base, having begun on the W Network, a channel for women's programming. Aside from that, they have also become physical attraction symbols for HGTV. One time, the network mentioned that they are aware of the fact that the twin brothers and HGTV fan favorites, Drew and Jonathan Scott, are good-looking, talented, and are one of the most popular stars with the ladies. In another instance, Kathleen Finch, the president of HGTV, has called the twins the cable equivalent of box office movie stars. Still on their looks after the debut of Brother vs. Brother, Glamour magazine mentioned that they've all always harbored massive crushes on the twins. One time, they were able to pull the second largest crowd ever at Mall of America, second only to the British boy band One Direction. Additionally, ET Canada included them on its hottest bachelor list in 2011. By the break of 2014, the twins made the People's List of Men of the Year, then the magazine's 50 Most Beautiful People issue in both 2013 and 2014. There's no doubt that their looks have earned them a lot, as well as their real estate ventures. They were number 13 on Hello Canada's Most Beautiful list of 2014. By the next year, 2015, BuzzFeed included them on their list of HGTV's 15 all-time hottest hotties. Over the years, he has given a reasonable amount of followings on various social media platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Periscope, where he uses the handle and loves referring to himself as Mr. Drew Scott. Following all that took place during his time at Property Brothers, Drew has expanded his reach and business pursuits by going into several other things. Great American Country's End of the Year Top 50 Country Countdown invited the brothers to host the annual program on December 2013. Drew and his brother co-hosted the Rose Parade in 2014 and 2015. The twins appeared as chef's table guests in the 16th season of Hell's Kitchen. One time they also decorated a house for the models on America's Next Top Model. That wasn't all. By the break of March 29, 2016, Drew and Jonathan were guest presenters at the Grand Ole Opry. Fast forward to 2013, Drew and his brothers also hosted the radio show Off Topic with the Scott Brothers for Canada's Chorus Entertainment that same year. To publicize the release of Bob Dylan's album box set, Drew and his brothers were invited to be among the characters to sing along with the lyrics. Though the real estate business has grown both for Drew and his brother, he has continued to pursue his passion for acting. One time, both he and his twin played themselves in the USA Network comedy Playing House. He also appeared in the first 5 episodes of the web series Tiny House Arrest, which debuted on January 1, 2016, and was produced by their production company. One time he even took the role of a director and also directed several episodes of Property Brothers and Buying and Selling, as well as the Scott Brothers Entertainment-produced web series. In line with his love for real estate and home remodeling, by the break of 2015, Drew and his brother also launched their first outdoor furniture line, Scott Living, on QVC. And by the end of 2016, it was recorded that the line had successfully crossed $100 million in revenue. At that point, that wasn't all. Dream Homes, which served as an extension of the brand, also provided customized architecture and home elements for homeowners. By the break of 2017, Drew and his brother brought all their brands under the umbrella of Scott Brothers Global. As part of the many things, skills, and accomplishments Drew has been able to achieve, he and his brother also released their first book titled Dream Home: The Property Brothers, Ultimate Guide to Finding and Fixing Your Perfect House, on the 4th of April 2016, which was able to appear on bestseller lists for the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and Amazon. By the time they released their second book, a memoir entitled It Takes Two: Our Story, in September 2017, among others. By the break of 2019, Drew also hosted Rock the Block, a competitive home renovation show between HGTV television personalities. As the Property Brothers empire continued to grow, Drew Scott has faced his share of tragedies, from personal challenges to his brother's health concerns and fertility struggles. Yet through it all, Drew remained resilient and emerged even stronger, inspiring fans with his courage and zeal as he kept his fans happy with his sweet smiles and charming looks. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.